Hello, Capricorn friends, and welcome to your November 2025 Tarot and Numerology reading and a detailed astrological forecast, including the November 5th full moon and November 19th new moon. So Capricorn, you have a lot of really beneficial activations this month in your career house and then in your house of social networks. So we'll see how those affect you in this month of November. Really some good energy headed your way for this month, Capricorn. If you are new to Vedic Sidereal Astrology, a quick and easy way to know if you are a Capricorn sun is if your birthday is from January 15th to February 12th, then you are a Capricorn sun in the Vedic Sidereal Astrology. And if you're used to Western tropical and this seems weird, just remember that the Western tropical system is a symbolic system, whereas the Vedic sidereal zodiac is based on real-time planetary positions. So you may find that the predictions and transits using this real-time data do give great predictions for how these subtle planetary energies affect you. If you're new here, welcome to Anastasia Tarot and Vedic Astrology channel, where I help you navigate the cosmic currents and surf the planetary wavelengths with a little more ease and grace. This November 2025 Tarot and Astrology forecast is for Capricorn Rising, Capricorn Moon, and Capricorn Sun, as per Vedic Sidereal Astrology. We're going to start with your Tarot and Numerology reading, then we'll get into the detailed astrological transits. Chapters are time-stamped in the description, so you can skip ahead if you like. And as always with collective readings, take what aligns and leave the rest behind. So now, Capricorn, let's get into your reading. Okay, Capricorn, welcome to your November 2025 Tarot reading. We are going to pick 5 cards for you, and then we'll pick a 6th card using numerology. So passing position, 2 of coins, present 10 of cups, future 6 of swords, and what to avoid, what to go toward, and our final 6th card we're going to pick by numerology. So we have 2 plus 10 plus 6 plus 2 equals 20, and this is the Judgment card. We're not using the Queen. Of course, she's not a number card. Okay, Capricorn, so I'm just glancing over at your charts, and you have a lot of really wonderful activations happening for November. So in the past with this 2 of coins, you may have really felt like you were kind of juggling things. And as a coins card, this may very well have been on a financial level. Maybe you were juggling some, expenses. For some Capricorns, 2 sources of income, 2 different sources of income. And again, that's, not all Capricorns, but for some, it could be, juggling work and school, juggling 2 different jobs or 2 different projects. And for some Capricorns, because coins can relate to health, there's also, if you were juggling, maybe work-life balance or juggling some health concerns into the mix. Now, we can see right off the bat, there is a 2 theme going on here, right? We have 2 of coins, we have 2 of cups, and Judgment is card number 20, but of course that reduces to a 2. So there is a subtle theme of polarity that's kind of underlying underlying this spread for you, Capricorn. Self and other, male and female. So I'm not quite sure what polarity it is. Spiritual, material, that's a big one for a lot of us. Now, going into the present, we have this 10 of Cups. This is absolutely a lovely card, Capricorn. It speaks to spiritual blessings, emotional fullness, emotional fulfillment. And indeed, you have some really lovely activations in your chart. You have exalted Jupiter is in your 7th house of relationships. It's creating a Hamsa yoga. So for some Capricorns, that exalted Jupiter in your house of partnerships, it's either speaking to a really lovely 10 of Cups kind of experience of enjoying your partnership if you're in union with someone. And for Capricorns that are looking for love, certainly Jupiter exalted in your 7th house may bring a new love interest. There's also quite a bit of 11th house activation, which is older siblings and your extended networks, your tribe. It could be, your professional network, social network, even social media. And so with, this activation of that 11th house here, there may be really some fulfillment from your tribe, from your larger social networks. This card is interesting in the future, this 6 of Swords. First of all, again, really lovely benefic card. 6 is a number of balance and harmony. Swords have to do with the mind. So this really speaks to arriving at a place where you keep your mind balanced and in harmony. And in fact, you have a lot of career activations this month. You have Malavya Yoga is created by Venus in Libra in your 10th house of career. So I feel like this card, this 6 of Swords, is really supporting this career activation, that you're able to exercise your charisma and your magnetism and express yourself in your career and leadership. For some Capricorns, this may be travel. 6 of Swords can sometimes mean travel. And, again, with holidays coming up, that could be quite a few people, not just Capricorns. Now, getting into this, what to avoid and what to go toward. Now, for some Capricorns, this Queen of Wands is going to be an actual person. This is an actual woman for you to avoid. She could be a fire sign, so Aries, Sag, or Leo. And, you have Saturn on your 3rd house, siblings, neighbors, day-to-day communication. You have Mars on your 11th house, Mars and Scorpio really strong. And 11th house is your extended social networks and elder siblings. So for some Capricorns, if there's some, conflict brewing or something like that with a Queen of Wands person, maybe even a sibling or, sibling, neighbor, coworker, someone in your extended network. So just avoid that, right? Going back to this card of keeping mental balance and mental equilibrium, just, avoid this woman if you can, and, certainly avoid getting into any power plays with her. And now what to go toward, this lovely, lovely 2 of Cups. And this is just so nice with this 10 of Cups and this 2 of Cups here in your reading, Capricorn. So again, for Capricorns, if you're looking for love with Jupiter in your 7th house, you may very well find an attraction or a love interest is coming into your life, and you're going to feel really drawn to go forward with that. For Capricorns who are already in union, married, in a relationship, this, again, this Jupiter in the seventh house really speaks to, spend time with your dear one and really enjoy the blessings of the relationship. Now, this Judgment card is a little bit of a change of vibe, right? We've got these Cups cards that are just really, all about love and enjoyment and blessings. And then we have this really, kind of quite militant Judgment card. And this is a card of awakening. It's also a card of listening to your intuition. The older meaning of this card had to do with fame, but over the years, the modern meaning of the Judgment card has really changed. It could be going back to how do you deal with this Queen of Wands woman, use your intuition. And you may have a total change of approach, like just a complete change of approach in how you deal with this woman. I mean, maybe she's, being sort of aggressive or difficult, and you decide to approach her in a more loving way. Again, that's not going to be all Capricorns, but I'm just giving an example here. Now, the other thing is, for some Capricorns, if this Queen of Bâton, this Queen of Wands, if she's not an actual woman in your life, like if that part just totally didn't resonate and you're like, I have no idea who she's talking about, right? There's no woman who's causing me trouble. So for some Capricorns, this Queen of Wands can speak to your home situation. Queen of Wands often deals with real estate or, matters of the home, and also, home business, like how you express your power in your home and your business. With this Judgment card, it could be advising you to take a completely different approach, a kind of radical change, radical new approach to how you deal with your, expressing your power in your home and business. And then, especially with all this 10th house activation, it may be more in your business than in your home. Queen of Wands, especially for Capricorns who are self-employed, Queen of Wands definitely has that kind of authority. So whether this is a person, an actual woman in your life, or whether this is you expressing your internal Queen of Wands, your internal authority and ambition and power, especially through the home and career, this Judgment really invites a whole new approach, a radical change, and it can be very much informed by your intuition. Again, leaning into, for your near and dear ones that you enjoy spending time with, this can be a very fruitful time. And in business, because you do have so much 10th and 11th house activation, if this Two of Cups is operating on a business level more so than a romantic or personal level, this very much talks about working in partnership with people, again, with all these yogas you've got going on, especially the Malavya yoga in your 10th house of career. You have a lot of charisma right now, Capricorn, and an ability to bring people together and kind of unite them working toward the same goal. So this Two of Cups is really quite a lovely card about bringing people together. And again, for some Capricorns, this is going to be on the romantic front. And for other Capricorns, it may be more having to do with business and career. So Capricorn, that was your tarot reading for November. If you enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. Up next is your Vedic astrology horoscope, and we're going to go through house by house, planet by planet. Hello, Capricorn friends, and welcome to your November 2025 horoscope. So Capricorn, this month you've got a really lovely career activation going on, and there's a lot going on career-wise and socially for you this month, Capricorn. So we're going to get into all of that. And just for those of you who are new to Vedic astrology, welcome. And if you want a quick and easy way to know your Vedic sun sign, you are Capricorn sun if your birthday is between January 15th to February 12th. So that's the date range for Capricorn sun sign in Vedic Sidereal Astrology. And this horoscope is for Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, and Capricorn sun, as per Vedic Sidereal Astrology. We're going to start off with looking at the full moon on November 5th to get a feeling for the beginning of the month, and then we'll look at the chart for November 19th new moon, so you can see how the energies shift toward the end of the month. Okay, Capricorn. So the first thing that you may have noticed is you've got all of this activation in your 10th house. This is your house of career and public reputation. So first of all, having Sun in the 10th house, quite a lovely activation. It puts your attention on your career. It kind of helps you shine. And this is really supported by Venus in Libra. So this Venus in Libra in your 10th house, Capricorn, that's actually making a Malavya yoga, which really elevates your experience for November. This Malavya yoga, which is, Venus is in domicile, she's in her own sign in your 10th house of career. So this definitely raises your charisma factor in your career. And for Capricorns that work in, for example, the beauty industry, the arts, any type of career where you really depend on your charisma, beauty, fashion, there are many, many different types of careers where charisma is a factor. But if you have any sort of career like that, it's definitely going to get a boost from this Malavya yoga. You're more attractive, you're more charismatic at this time. And, the sun also is increasing your personal power and your presence and your authority. So Capricorns, if you work within a larger organization and you have some kind of executive or leadership role, again, your leadership is, highlighted by having both Sun and Venus together in your career house and this Malavya yoga. You've also got another wonderful yoga down here with Jupiter exalted. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and he's in your 7th house of relationships, and this forms a Hamsa yoga. So you've got two really great yogas going on this month of November, Capricorn. For Capricorns who are looking for love, this Jupiter in the 7th house, especially exalted Jupiter in the 7th house, this could bring a mate or a romantic interest for Capricorns who are looking for love. And even Capricorns who are in union, especially, females, or, if you have a male mate, Jupiter is often the Karaka for the husband, and, sometimes children, but definitely Karaka for the husband. So this can just bring, if you're already in union, this exalted Jupiter in the 7th house is going to, a period of enjoyment for your marriage. You're going to be enjoying your spouse or your partner. And likewise, with this activation of 10th house of career and 7th house of partnership, If you are in a business where, it's a business partnership, Capricorn, this is a great activation. You've got benefic Jupiter in your house of partnership, exalted. You've got Sun and Venus in your house of career. So for those Capricorns who are, in a partnership type of business, really lovely, lovely activation. And you've got Mars and Mercury activating your 11th house of gains and social networks. Now, this is a little bit of a mixed bag. Mars in the 11th house, he's really strong, right? Mars is in Scorpio. He loves being in Scorpio. And you may have noticed here, we've got a lot of strong planets in November. Jupiter is exalted, Venus is in domicile, and Mars is in domicile. So we've got 3 really strong planets in November. Now, Mars does well in this 11th house of social networks insofar as you have energy, vitality. You may find that you're taking a leadership role within your social networks. So, and 11th house is gains from your own efforts. So, if career is going well, you could see a corresponding boost to your income with Mars and Mercury in the 11th house, and then you have Rahu over here in your 2nd house of finances. So your income is likely going up, from this combination of 10th house, 11th house, and 2nd house all being activated. The thing to watch out for with Mars in the 11th house, though, is, 11th house has to do with social networks, professional networks, older siblings. And Mars is this aggressive warrior planet. So you do want to be extra careful. And, especially with social media, like if you've noticed, people, tempers can really flare and people can get into all kinds of, crazy conflicts in social media. So definitely just stay away from that. If you, see yourself starting to get drawn into that, just, step away. You don't need to get involved, especially if it's a social media kind of thing. You really don't need to get involved. Now, if this is more personal, like your older siblings, your professional network, your social network, your tribe, as it were, you just really want to be, err on the side of caution. You don't communicate in an aggressive way, with this Mars and Mercury together. If someone is communicating with you in an aggressive way, again, be strategic with your communication. Mars and Mercury together can be quite difficult. However, if you use those energies correctly, it will give you strategic communication. And, take the long view of things, especially if there are longer term relationships going on, take the long view of the relationship. Take a long view that any sorts of conflicts are probably temporary and of short duration in, the bigger picture of your whole network, or your whole relationship with your siblings. So that's just the thing to be aware of with this, Mars activating the 11th house. But and then the other thing is, don't loan money to your siblings or social network at this time. That may not be the best time to loan money to siblings or people in your social network. But really, this, as I said, this activation of 10th house of career, 11th house of gains and network, and then 2nd house of finances. This can really be a lovely activation for your personal power, charisma, magnetism in your career, and also for hopefully increasing your finances, increasing your income. And again, that's all going to be supported by this exalted Jupiter in your house of partnership. Okay, now we're going to fast forward to the November 19th new moon to get a feel for how the month ends and this latter part of the month. Okay, Capricorn, so as you can see, by the end of the month, you have quite a bit of 11th house activation. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but that's, that's the big news for this second half of November. So first of all, you can see Jupiter has gone retrograde. I believe November 11th is the date it went retrograde. So now Jupiter exalted in Pisces is just such a benefic planet that this retrograde may actually work in your favor. Retrogrades are always do-overs. Depending on the planet in the house, it can be quite frustrating. But in this case, this, retrograde Jupiter exalted in the 7th house, making Hamsa Yoga, the retrograde may dilute the power of the Hamsa Yoga a little bit, but the retrograde Jupiter may also bring you some really beneficial do-overs when it comes to relationships. This could be anything from a person from out of your past who maybe you thought you lost touch with, or maybe you fell out with, and now this person comes back into your life again, and you're able to, have a beneficial do-over that maybe heals that relationship. If you are working out some, past relationship problems with your spouse, this Jupiter retrograde can offer some support, like going over, okay, why do we have this destructive pattern in our relationship, and what can we do to heal that? So this Jupiter retrograde in the 7th house can give some relationship do-overs, but again, they're probably going to have good results because Jupiter is absolutely, benefic in this Pisces and in this Hamsa Yoga. Now, with Ketu in your house of joint finances, if you're applying for loans or in any kind of negotiations having to do with joint finances, who knows what's going to happen. Ketu is a chaos factor, so I don't know, expect the unexpected. In terms of your spiritual development, if you are an intuitive person, if you have any sort of psychic or intuitive abilities, this 8th house Ketu is definitely going to help you kind of see what's underneath the surface. So that can be working for you in a subtle way. We've already discussed, this lovely Malavya Yoga, Venus activating in your 10th house of career. That continues to bolster your charisma factor at your career. Now, this 11th house activation we've got Sun, Mercury retrograde, and Mars are all in the house of career. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but we do have in this latter part of November, we've got Mercury is retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde, and Saturn is retrograde. So this is not the time to start new ventures. Even though it's a good time for your career, this is more of a time, complete things, revisit things that were already in the works. But with 3 planets in retrograde, I would definitely wait until December before starting or launching any new projects. By December, both Mercury and Saturn are going to be out of retrograde. So that's just going to have a lot more forward momentum. This latter half of November with 3 planets in retrograde, not the time to start anything new, if at all you can avoid it. And with Sun in the 11th house, now again, it's putting your attention on your networks, your communities, older siblings perhaps, but definitely on your networks, communities, your tribe. With Sun and Mars activating the 11th house, there's definitely going to be a balancing act, Capricorn, between working alone and working with a group. So just be aware, you may have somewhat of a balancing act and some frustration there, because both Sun and Mars are really going to supercharge your leadership abilities. And, you know, Venus is over here giving you charisma. And yet, sometimes when you're working with a group, right, the group may not want you to be the leader, or, you know what, you may not be the leader of that group. And yet, you know, your leadership is super activated with, you know, Mars and Sun, both in your 11th house, and Mars being very strong in Scorpio. So just be aware that you may feel yourself, Capricorn, pulled in two directions. In one respect, you may be very, very drawn toward working in collaboration and being part of a group. But in another respect, you may actually find that you need to work alone to get things done, because this is kind of a time where you need to be a leader. And if you're not the leader of that group, that may feel frustrating to you. So that could be something where you may do better working alone, where you can, you know, be your own leader, as it were. Now, with the Thanksgiving holidays coming up for, you know, Capricorns in the United States, certainly all of this activation in the 11th house definitely could manifest you know, social gatherings, getting together with family, siblings, community for Thanksgiving holiday. And, you know, again, with Mercury retrograde, just, you know, expect a little bit of, you know, Mercury retrograde. And then same thing with Sun and Mars. You know, if there's people in your family or in your community and you're getting together for the holidays, they get on your nerves, just let it go, you know, walk away, let it go, and just, you know, enjoy the 11th house activation for what it is. And, you know, just forewarned is forearmed. Just understand you may be experiencing a little bit of frustration between, you know, wanting and needing to be in a leadership role versus, you know, cooperating with a larger group of people. But all in all, Capricorn, November should be a really nice month for you with this Malavya Yoga and this Hamsa Yoga that are elevating your chart this month. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Every little bit helps. This is a tiny channel, and wishing you the very best, good health, peace, and prosperity for the month of November. Namaste.